All right, welcome in everybody. We are officially started. Looks like we've got people now jumping in, so welcome everybody. So glad to be spending this Thursday with you guys. While everybody's joining in, go ahead and just drop in the chat where you're tuning in from, what part of the world you're in. I'm currently in California, so it's 10 a.m. my time. Liz, I know you're East Coast, right? So it's a little past lunchtime for you, which is nice.
Yes.
Jersey City. I've never been to Jersey yet. I guess I'll take that back. I was at the New York or Newark airport one time for a crazy overlay, which is a whole nother story. But yeah. Steve's joining in from London. Welcome, Steve. What time of day is it for you in London? It's like you're 9 hours ahead, so I can't do the math. It's too early for me to do that math, but 6 p.m. we've got Raul from India. Wow, 10:30 p.m. Dang. You're staying up late to hang out with us. I like it. I like it. Well, everybody, we're really excited to have you guys here today. We're going to be talking with Liz from Ethique here about really how she's taken things to the next level using Because. So I'm Mark with Because. I'm going to go ahead and get started here, but as we're still getting started, I would love for you guys to jump into the chat and describe your job using emojis. So maybe not what you currently do for your job, but like the brand that you work for, or if you're an agency, try using some emojis for the agency. If you're a shampoo bar brand, it would be easy for you to be able to do that. But yeah, go ahead and just drop in the chat some emojis and we'll just have like a little fun guessing game here. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Let's make sure everybody can see this here. My Zoom chat so I can see all you guys chatting. Ooh, Alicia's got some good emojis right there. I like that. Awesome. Yeah, Liz, some good emojis there for you too. Cool. Joe, I know where Joe's from using those two emojis. It's great to see you, Joe. So, today we're talking no code, big gains, a Teaks formula for high CVR and beauty. So, while we get started, I just want to do a quick introduction. Some of you guys already know me because you've either been on a previous webinar with Because or you've worked with me at Because. But I'm Mark. I really thrive in helping Shopify brands and agencies turn browsers into buyers, specifically using no code, no dev. We love devs, but it's just, as you're going to hear us talk today, it's all about agility. It's all about how do we take things and learnings and do things fast. The market's ever changing. So how do we do that at scale? And I formerly ran ecom at the Adventure Challenge. That's how I found Because. So I was a customer of Because before I worked at Because and really enjoyed and loved how much Because connected into all my tech stack. Klaviyo specifically, and I could really do things at scale, do it rapidly, do it quick, test out a bunch of different segments. Now, I'm also a girl dad, so I've truly got everything, stickers everywhere, chalk, crayons, washable crayons have been a lifesaver. So any parents out there, they make washable crayons and they are a lifesaver. And then, of course, I couldn't have a webinar and not talk about Star Wars. So if you've seen my background, massive Star Wars fan, and I did cry during Andor season 2, and I'm sad, but it's okay. So let's talk about what we're covering today. We're gonna meet Liz here and hear about Atique's story a little bit. It's a really exciting brand and something that even my wife and I have really enjoyed having in our house. We're going to talk about how to personalize without developers, which I know everybody's really eager to hear about. Then we're going to see real world campaigns. We're going to see what did Ethique do? How did this help drive their overall conversion rate, customer experience? We'll look at some results today. Then we're going to share some tactics that you guys can take away today and start implementing on your site. And then we've got some live Q&A and some free resources for you. So without further ado, let's meet Liz. Liz, you truly are one of my favorite customers that we have. I'm not just saying that because you're on the webinar with us, but truly it's been fun. But I'll let you have the floor and you can introduce yourself and talk through all the fun stuff.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Super nice to meet you. Thank you for tuning in to hear about how Ethique is using Because. Because is also one of my favorite Shopify apps, and I'm also not just saying that. But I am the director of digital marketing and e-com at Ethique. I have been here for a little over 4 years. We've been through two rebrands since I've been here, and I've worn a lot of different hats while working here, but landed really in the e-com space. Ethique sells solid shampoo. I'm sure that not a lot of you have tried that before, but we're super efficacious. All of our clinically proven results are after one wash. We're incredibly sustainable. There's no plastic in any of our products. Extremely long lasting, bars for all hair types. And as you can see in my profile picture, extremely proud of our brand, but we landed full distribution in Ulta this year, and that's been going well since January. So if you're looking to find us other than on our website, we're on Amazon, we're in Ulta, Whole Foods, Wegmans, and we just launched in Chatters, which is the Ulta of Canada.
Wow.
So really excited about our growth there. But a little bit more about, my role at Ethique and what I do. So I lead the D2C business, anywhere from merchandising the site, strategizing user experiences, any campaigns, promos, etc. So all website things. And I really use Because in a way to help elevate our global campaigns, whether it be a promotion or a product launch, clearly with no development support. And then really a lot of my applications are using analytics that we have or pushing people in the direction that we know that they convert in or personalizing their journey to help increase conversion rate and just making that consumer journey really smooth and easy for them to get to the products that we know they are going to love the most. And then overall, we just really focus on building out our customer journey, and we've used Because a lot throughout that.
So cool. So cool. I know you have already talked a little bit about it, but I want to go to this next slide here and talk a little bit about just your guys' impact at Atik. I'm
Sure.
curious, anybody in the chat, have you guys heard of shampoo bars before this call? I know I did because I was like starting to travel a couple years ago and I was like looking for I don't like hotel shampoo. And so like that was like where I first learned about shampoo bars. Somebody says from Lush. Nice.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Liz, talk a little bit about Atik. I know there's some insane data on this slide. Love that.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, super excited to see that somebody's tried solid shampoo. Obviously a big proponent of that. I feel like a few things about Ethique. So we were actually founded in New Zealand. We have been more established, but we've actually been around for a little over 10 years. And we have really focused on in our last rebrand what's so special about our brand, which is really the efficacy, the way that we make our our products. We're able to have 10 times more active ingredients than any liquid shampoo, which means that the ingredients in the bar are really working hard for your hair. And all of our clinical results are after just one wash, which is very powerful. But at the forefront, our original founder really created our brand because she saw how big the hair care industry was and how big of an impact it had in terms of plastic. So this number up here is to date, so 43 million plus plastic bottles saved. And that calculation really comes from the fact that each one of our shampoos lasts the equivalent of each one of our shampoos lasts the equivalent of 3 bottles of shampoo, and each of our conditioners lasts the equivalent of 5 bottles of conditioner. So essentially, I know that can be a hard stat to digest, but for myself, I have pretty long hair, and I go through about 2 shampoo bars, maybe 1 conditioner bar a year. So if you do start to love the product, it can be quite a cost saver, really long lasting. And one thing, and if you visit our website right now, because we are in travel season for summer, we're really shouting from the rooftops that our bars are so wonderful to travel with. No water, no plastic, no mess. You don't have to worry about your shampoo exploding in your suitcase. TSA friendly. No one's going to confiscate anything. And more importantly, you can have the same hair that you have at home while you're on vacation, and you don't have to worry about using whatever shampoo is in the hotel that you're visiting, which is absolutely wonderful. And lots of people will start off using us as a travel solution and then bring us into their daily routine. We are certified B Corp. We're actually in the top 3% of B Corps. We have over 50,000 five-star reviews. As I had mentioned earlier, with some of our retail footprint, we are selling globally within New Zealand, the US, and Canada. And we are scaling our e-com. We do have traditional development support, but we do use Because to kind of fill the gaps, or I like to say, really use Because to test things or be more agile. And for us, with having traditional development as well, it really allows us to rely on development for things that are bigger or more important to our brand, or something that's just like much more complex, but really any personalization on site in terms of testing messaging, testing the position. I don't need to waste any of my development hours on a test. I'm able to do all of my tests through Because, which has been really powerful to have the division of what I'm using Because for versus like a traditional development.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit about Ethique.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You guys are going to hear a lot more as we're talking through these slides here. And yeah, I mean, traveling with your own hair care routine that you have at home, I know is so crucial. I'm going to be like sponsoring you guys here for just a little soundbite, but it's like I know that even just going to like different climates can destroy your hair, right? Or just make it way more uncontrollable. So being able to have that same quality and stuff that you used to is great. But let's talk about the challenge. This challenge is going to relate to everybody here on the call. And as we're talking about a lot of the stuff today, we are going to be talking about quizzes, but quizzes is interchangeable with any kind of like personal data that you have, first party, zero party data that you have about customers. So don't tune out if you're like, oh, I don't have a quiz or quizzes aren't applicable to me and my brand. I think you're going to be surprised if we're talking through this. So I'm going to talk about a little bit about this, and Liz, feel free to speak it to this as well. But oftentimes the challenge with brands, and I know this was a challenge with you guys as well, is that you have all this quiz data. So like you can kind of see this little flow chart here of like customer lands on Shopify site, they take the quiz. You guys have a quiz around hair care, trying to figure out the right type of hair. And then you have all these different products that really match the perfect hair, whether it's curly or coily or dry, straight, and all the needs. And then from there it goes on to Klaviyo, and Klaviyo does a good job of emailing the customer. And then it kind of, I might sound extreme, it kind of just dies. It kind of stops there, right? Customer has the info in their email, but then it doesn't really go beyond that. So that's the challenge with a lot of brands. It's like we know who's coming onto the site, maybe via a pop-up or understanding maybe they've made a specific purchase or a segment, but then it's like, how do we get that information back into the customer journey flow? So any other challenges that you'd want to maybe add on to that list that I missed?
No, I think that that is something. The one thing I mention specifically about the email kind of shortfall, I would say, is especially with Apple privacy kind of increasing open rate, and things along those lines. And we love email, and email is, it can be super lucrative when combined or like rolling out SMS. But what I'm really finding even right now too for myself is that there's just specific groups of people that are going to be opening their emails, specific groups of people that are going to be opening SMS. But I really like the power of combining some of those and meeting people where they are, because maybe they'll miss an email, but if I set up a message for them, it doesn't matter when they visit the site. It could be in 6 months, it could be in a year. They're still going to get that connected experience with Because when landing on the site. And you can control how much they see a certain message so that they don't get tired of seeing it, or, stop putting this in my face, which is something we often do. We'll set like a cap of showing something 3 times because most likely they're not interested if they haven't clicked on it. But I really like the idea that, at some point somebody's going to visit the site, but they might miss an email or they might miss a text message, and just making sure we have that kind of like 360 approach, that these things are all working together.
Yeah. And to your point too, around just like the longevity of your product, you're saying that you go through, what was it, 2 bars a year, 3 bars a year? And
Yes.
so it's like, I'll use my wife's example. She went through your guys' quiz, she got the bar, she went through the whole process. But it's like without Because, she would have to go back 6 months ago into her email and be like, wait, what, like, which item did I get paired with? What did I purchase? Because you're not going to keep the packaging, you know? So you've just got your bar sitting in your shower. When it comes time to reorder, it's like, what did I do? So that's where Because comes in handy, because you can try to search your email, but who's going to be able to find that luck looking back 3, 6 months, so on and so forth. Yeah. So yeah, great challenges. So let's talk about the solution. Let's talk about how we kind of solve this problem and how we've been solving it for you guys at Ethique. I'll move on to this next slide here, and you can kind of see this here. This is where Because comes into play. We've already been talking about it, but with Because, what we do is we take all the data that is coming in from Shopify through your quiz tools, funneling into Klaviyo, and then we create on-site campaigns. The on-site campaigns are then personalized to who's coming on site. What's great about this is that it almost creates this now cycle, like the flywheel that HubSpot always talks about, rather than a funnel that just kind of dies after everybody goes through it. And so with this, we are able to create unique segments based off of the quiz results. So customers that go through a flow and they get paired with a specific product, they can now have unique Because campaigns shown directly to them, shown on, top bars, badges, PDP messaging. And then what we can also do is A/B test everything to see what resonates most with the audience. And I know that's something that we did with the teak. But then what's really cool about this too is that I know I said it earlier, but quizzes is just a piece of this, right? We've worked with brands that have just taken segments of their customer personas. I did this when I was at the Adventure Challenge. We determined who was our gifter versus who was just buying for themselves. And then we were able to create segments using Klaviyo and then create unique Because campaigns that really created this nice overall personalized experience. But Liz, what are your thoughts as you're seeing this? And I know we're about to dive into some real campaigns in action that is going to really show everybody how this works.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely use Klaviyo segments quite a bit. I don't want to say that we're only limited to that. And I know it's in beta right now, and I'm using it personally, but I'm able to pull in some of that Shopify data. So whether it's distinguishing like a top bar just simply by a new customer and return customer, which us with the way that we've rebranded this time around, it's really important for us to be able to split our data by new and return, because we're starting to get really different cohorts and people that behave differently. So it's really easy to see that. But I would say with with the Klaviyo segments, for us, like the power is that we're really able to specifically personalize a message based on a cohort. And I would say one really good example of that is that we have been trying to win back some of our customers who haven't come and repurchased this from us since our rebrand. And we sent out an email to about 800 people, and only 2 people purchased from those emails, which is really low. And we're like, maybe they're not interested. You can't really trust the open rate on emails right now because of Apple privacy. But we took the exact same kind of messaging and strategy and used a top bar on site and then also a personalized message on that product PDP. And within 2 weeks, we actually saw 20 purchases using Because versus email. So
Wow.
Again, I'm a big proponent of these things work well together. And I think it depends on what you're trying to personalize, who you're trying to go after, how specific it needs to be, but definitely with because like you're able to be as granular or as high level with these messages as you'd like. And I definitely see applications for myself using kind of each one of these tools and data segments.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. And just to speak again to the agility of things, you guys can see, it says launch campaigns in minutes, which is true. Like you can truly get things up and running. When I was on the brand side, we were going through a big app audit, and our senior developer did not want to onboard a new platform, a new app, anything like that. We had 70 apps. I'm not exaggerating. We had 70 apps. It was the wild, wild west. And when I explained to him the ability for Because and how it understands segments and campaigns and flows in Klaviyo and Klaviyo data, he was like, "Oh my gosh, that is really cool." And we would never build that. He's like, "We're looking to see what apps can we like try to replace and rebuild." And he's like, I wouldn't even want to scratch the surface on trying to understand how to pull in all that Klaviyo data and personalize the website to Klaviyo data. Where, some of these other apps, it's like, oh yeah, maybe we can like change the review apps or do something like that. But that was really cool to experience that on the brand side. And that was before I worked at Because, so it was cool to experience that. But let's talk through some real examples of seeing this happen. So we're gonna go through here and show you guys just a few of the ones that Ethique has built and some really exciting ones here. I'm going to first talk about this one here, and then Liz, feel free to speak to these other ones. But this here is the email. So I went through the process and went through the hair quiz and got the email. What's really great is customer goes through the quiz, they get the site experience, they get the email, but then when they come on the site, they're seeing which items were perfectly matched to them using badges, which is really cool. So this is tying into that data. It's being personalized, that browsing experience for that customer. And it really is treating them like a VIP. The customer has already taken time to engage with Atik. And it's, again, this is just talking about quizzes here, but think about anything else regarding this on any other data you might know, whether they've purchased this or maybe they have purchased, the first item and there's a sequel item that you think might go well with it, or, maybe they purchased last year's spring dress and this year's spring dress is like the perfect match to last year's. There's so many ideas on tying this in, but it just really creates this personalized experience. And who doesn't want to see a badge like this that says your perfect match? But I'll let you talk more about this, Liz.
Sure. So we implemented a hair quiz about a year or so ago, and we've been able to repeat the success. We've had really great success with Because with this. So we do this now in a few different applications. Also, just calling out that our bestseller badge is also through Because. We'll often also use these applications of these badges for promos to kind of call out what products are included in promos. But yes, one of the most powerful applications we use is the hair quiz. And this way, too, like when somebody takes the hair quiz, we're gathering such insightful information as to like what they're looking for. Um, Also, with our hair quiz, you have the option of emailing yourself the results, or you don't have to, quite frankly. So with us, we love to have when these people pop back on site, as Mark had mentioned, is they've taken the time to fill this out. And instead of them having to like go fill out the quiz again or go through that journey, like we're gonna show them what we had recommended to them prior. And we see this as like such a good personalization tool to guide them into shopping. And right now, we specifically have it set up again because we're in an interesting spot with our rebrand. We're really curious about like people who are coming back and purchasing the newer product. Our names have changed for our products as well. So this also really helps to guide people in terms of finding their old product, but like the newer, better version. And then also we have a top bar that has a little bit more wording to it, but we'll have at the top that, you know, smoothing shampoo bar was the perfect match for your frizzy hair, shop now. And that also gets a lot of engagement because you also can add in like a hi Mark, like we're happy to see you, like your perfect match was this. And reminding them also, I think that adding a little bit more personalization to it, like reminding them what their benefit concern relationship was. Like there's definitely different applications depending on your industry, but for us with hair care, the main way that people shop is by identifying their concern or identifying their benefit. Like, so my hair is frizzy and I want it smooth. My hair is oily and I want my scalp balanced. So we do find that like reiterating that message in the perfect match bar too is also really helpful. But we're using these things in conjunction. We've A/B tested them, but we don't find that one or the other is potentially like more powerful. It's really like it working together. So like seeing that top bar and then they might see the top bar and then they don't see it again and they're browsing through different collection pages. And just that reminder, I feel like, of the your perfect match. It's not too in your face, but it's personalized enough for them to just hit that quick add to cart and be like, you know what, you're right. Like this is what I was looking at when I was last here. Another application beside outside of Hair Quiz for us is we've seen recently, again, I know I'm gonna be a broken record about this rebrand, but we've had a lot of shifts in this past year, including we just switched to distribution center and also we are still producing all of our products in New Zealand and trying to be the most sustainable that we can. All of our products are shipped here via boat. So sometimes it takes a little bit for a restock. So a few things with like a product restock that we might do is when our customer service gets a lot of write-ins at the top of a collection page, we'll actually put a temporary banner there that says like deodorant restock coming in May 2025. And it brings down our customer service write-ins, which like frees up their time, which is so great. But one thing that we've been trying more and more, and I'm going to kind of go from the beginning of this journey to the end, but while, especially if you have a product that is not hair care, but like a deodorant or a lip balm, or maybe it's a dress, like Mark had said, and you have different colors, and somebody's shopping on your page, and they land on that page directly from a paid ad. We'll have a product recommendation kind of like sitting below that sold out sign that's like, while you're waiting for this red dress, are you interested in buying it in black? And like maybe showing a picture of somebody in that dress or whatever it may be. And we've seen a lot of success with that in terms of like our deodorants and our lip balms, because a lot of times people are interested in buying the format or the actual product and maybe like the variant, whether it's color or scent, it might not matter that much to them, or like they're so eager to try it. And then also combined with the transparency of letting them know, hey, like the product you really want is not going to be back in stock for another month. They might not want to wait. Or like also they might come back and purchase the other one too later on.
Yeah.
So we're seeing a lot of success with that. And then combined ending that journey of selling out is that when the product is back, we put a badge on it that says back in stock for those people who had maybe purchased that item, or we'll go back and be like, who's somebody who's purchased this item before but hasn't purchased it in the last 3 months. And we'll even go as far as to having a top bar for that person being like, hey, Mark, great news. Your Dio's back in stock. Shop now. And we will see, like, even I just checked today, we have one of them for that top bar Dio back in stock. In the last 2 weeks, we have 260 orders attributed to that top
Wow.
bar, which is really powerful. So honestly, there's a lot of applications, but I would say for me, some of the biggest are for overall for Because is personalization in terms of matching people with their right products, proactive customer service coverage
Yeah.
is a big one. And then honestly, the power of like in stock, back in stock, new product launches, it's starting to really help. And then I would say the last thing for us is the support of our rebrand. Our brand, and I'm sure even just from listening to this, you're like, this brand is so cool, or at least I hope you think it's cool. But we have a lot of unique selling points. So we're able to A/B test a lot of those unique selling points to see who they resonate with. And then the other half of it is because we've had a pretty big makeover, we're able to help guide the people who purchased from us before to help them find the product that's right for them now. So whether it's like for a temporary period on every single one of our PDPs, we had like for the clarifying shampoo, it was like your favorite, or the old one was called St. Clement's. Or your favorite St. Clement's bar got a makeover. It's now has this clinically proven results, but like this is the right bar for you. And it would be on the clarifying shampoo bar page. So it helped with customer information, rebrand transition, and just helping people find their old favorites. And then just also helping to explain that one, this rebrand was so great and how much they would benefit from it. So like just connecting that journey for them and not having to rely on anyone except for ourselves and like our customer service team and our marketing team to be like, hey Liz, like we got a bunch of write-ins today. And just being able to like pop it up is so powerful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I want to add on to that by saying we work with a brand that's in the apparel space, and they didn't go through a rebrand, but they did change the name of some of their best-selling products. And what they did with Because is they leveraged the data of people who had purchased that product before and let them know, like, hey, this used to be called this, now it's called this. But for brand new customers, they didn't need to do that because a brand new customer didn't know that it was a different product. And so it helped clean up the overall like product page, collection page. They didn't have to like over communicate something to somebody else and cause confusion to like a brand new customer. They're like, wait, it used to be this, now it's this.
That's
So there's a
such
lot
a
of
great
grace.
point, Mark. And
Yeah.
like for us too, like our guidance on the PDPs, it was only we only did it for people who had purchased from us prior
Yeah.
to that rebrand. Because to your point, for the people coming in and that are new to us, they don't really need to know about that. And so like that's also very powerful about personalization is just you don't want to add too much messaging for the people that really don't need it either.
Yeah, yeah. And the last thing I'll say from a consumer standpoint that sometimes rubs me the wrong way, and I understand why this happens, is that, we're talking about product recommendations and things being sold out. Amazon's kind of spoiled it all for all of us, right? Amazon set the bar so high and they have all the development resources and everything like that. But what's frustrating to me as a consumer is when I may be browsing something and maybe it's an item that's sold out, or maybe it's just whatever, and they're recommending products that I already have bought. And it's because it's not being personalized to me. It's like, wait, you guys know that I've bought this book from you or I've bought this jacket from you, and I'm back on site and you're saying you may also like, and I'm like, I do like that. I own it. It's in my closet. Like that's where because can come into play, where it's like we can recommend products that they haven't purchased. And then if they have purchased, the messaging is different. So rather than like you may also like, it's like restock your favorite. So there's tons of potential there. But let's talk. We've been talking a lot about the campaigns. I know you guys are really eager to see data behind all this stuff because we're talking about all how amazing this is and the customer experience. But let's talk through data. And I do see some questions in the chat. We'll get to those in a minute here, but let's talk about the data behind some of this. So Liz, let's talk about this. I'll let you kind of take the floor on this one. And here's that top bar that you were talking about on that last slide there.
Sure, yes. So in regards to this top bar, our previous performance was that we saw with these top bars a 26% conversion increase. And what this means is, and even for these other add to cart and order volume lift, it means that for a customer who saw this banner versus a customer who did not see this banner, we saw a 26% conversion increase. And this was across basically the combination of you would see this perfect match depending on what product was right for you. So obviously this is a very healthy number. We also saw a 30% add to cart increase and a 19% volume lift. And this is again specifically from this on-site curl defining shampoo for curl care. And I'm sure for anybody on this call, like The one thing I would express about Because is that with the A/B testing and the platform too, like there's often A/B testing out there, or like people will be doing testing where it's more so, okay, this is what happened before. Now I'm going to implement this, and this is what happened after. And it's great. But especially when you're talking to like leadership or people above, it's really nice to just pop these things into an A/B testing tool where you're able to split it really nicely and see the performance of the control versus the test and like very clearly see the outcome. Obviously, once we saw that these results were hitting with I think over like 30,000 impressions, we just went ahead and published them. So we're not necessarily like incrementally tracking what that performance is anymore. But as soon as you see performance like this, these are the decisions where you're like, it's a no-brainer. I'm going to publish this and keep it live forever. So I think that just one strong call out too is just the usability of the Because platform and how clear the results are for the control versus the test has been probably one of the most powerful uses of the tool. Is just you're really able to prove a use case, and often we're doing a lot of this testing on site too, not necessarily to even inform things on the website. It might be because we're testing something on paid ads, or the marketing team or somebody has an inkling that rephrasing something or something might work. It's another way to prove your concept, which is really, really nice and have clear results.
Yeah, and you're speaking my language. That's why we get along so well, Liz, is the A/B testing way that a lot of brands do it, and I understand why they do it, is that they do A/B testing very isolated. Like you're saying, it's a very before, very after, but like, gosh, the traffic is so different, right? What new ad campaign did you launch? What new product happened or whatever. Like maybe there's a shift in buying behavior, right? Maybe it's in between pay periods. There's so much that could happen in those like big spans that feel so isolated. The other thing that happens during A/B testing that I dislike is that they will spin up a dedicated landing page and go, well, this landing page converts better than this landing page. But then it's a very separate journey. What's really amazing about Because is you're A/B testing within your existing journey, your existing flow, and you're able to really see the with and without impact of because we're splitting it on like an audience or role-based level rather than just going like, well, we sent 50% of people to this one landing page and the other 50% did this. There's too many variables in that to really get good data. So that's why it's so cool to go, okay, let's put this top bar here. How does this top bar perform when we're doing everything else on site and see those results? So yeah, I love it. But I'm gonna take a pause here before we go into the next slide here. I just want to see those of you that are watching, how is this feeling helpful for you guys? If it is feeling helpful, can I just get the word helpful in the chat? And if it's not feeling helpful, that's okay. We I'll take all the feedback, but then we're gonna talk into some quick wins for you guys today that you can probably start implementing on your site today. Yeah, it's been definitely helpful. Liz is a rock star, so we really appreciate Liz giving us time today. Joe says it's helpful. I love it. Cool. Let's jump into some quick wins that you guys can launch today. So there's a couple here on screen. I'm also going to drop in the chat here quite a few more. You'll get a lot of these in your email follow-up as well. So those that are watching live and maybe watching the recording, the formatting here is going to be a little weird on this. So let me just break this up real quick. Oh well, it already sent. So you guys can copy and paste that from the chat, take a screenshot, but I'll also be sending out an email to you as well. But definitely some quick wins that you can launch today. You guys may be here and you are thinking, I don't have a quiz and I don't have the ability to go onboard a new quiz software or don't even know where to start with that. I would say the first thing that you can start is adjust your Klaviyo pop-up with like a poll, add some radio buttons, start asking questions about who they are, who they're shopping for. Maybe you're an apparel brand and you want to just ask the question of, are you shopping for yourself or somebody else? That's going to give you a lot of data and insight that you can then personalize. Maybe you're an apparel brand and you just want to find out, are they male or female? So that way you can help personalize that experience. Maybe you are in a specific niche industry and you just want to ask some additional questions on how deep their fandom goes or something like that. using that Klaviyo data, you can then basically treat it like a quiz. It doesn't have to be quite as in-depth as a true quiz, but it is helping just get some questions and create some on-site personalization for that. You could also see if they're brand new to something, right? So like if Liz was coming to me from Ethique and she doesn't have a quiz and she was asking about how to do this, I would recommend like how new are you to the shampoo bar space and just having a quick yes no like you know brand new never used it before or like I've been using shampoo bars forever. That's going to help you understand like where you need to kind of direct them to and also build better flows. The other thing that I think you can do right away would be messaging for return visitors, so people who have coming back to the site but have never made a purchase, so they're in your email list but they've never made a purchase. What messaging can we do to kind of get them across that finish line? So messaging around this product's a fan favorite, also implementing the welcome discounts. There's so much that we can tap into there. Just understanding that they have never made a purchase. And then the last one here that is exciting on the slide, but there's definitely more in the chat there, is messaging around UTM promotion. So definitely tying in that messaging. Maybe it's an influencer campaign, maybe it's a special Facebook, Meta, Google ad campaign that you're running for summer. Bringing that messaging on site using UTM parameters via Because and just creating that unified experience. Because how many times have we clicked on an ad that says, save 15% today, you click on it and then you land on the site and you're just treated like a normal visitor. You don't remember the coupon code with Because we can persist that all the way through. And maybe it is an influencer campaign. We worked with one brand recently where they ran a big campaign with several different influencers. And what they did, which was really cool, instead of a picked for you badge, they ran uh, a badge that had the influencer's name in it and it said like Alicia's favorite. And it was really cool because those that came in from Alicia's campaign landed on the collection page and saw which one was her favorite. But it was only being shown to those people that came in directly from Alicia's traffic, which was really cool. So definitely a lot of cool ones there. Um, Liz, any thoughts on this before I transition to the next slide?
For sure. I think that too, like again, without the quiz information, like there's lots of data that you have from Klaviyo segments or just using Because in terms of like has this person purchased this product? And then depending on how established your brand is or what data you have, like you could also look at the products that are most commonly purchased together. And if that person has only say product A and B are most commonly purchased together and they haven't purchased product B, like that's another way that you could recommend that product. Or if there's matching sets, whereas like for myself, like we have shampoos and conditioners that match. So if somebody has only purchased the shampoo, like it's easy to recommend to them that conditioner, or simply just going through and labeling things as like fan favorite or bestseller, or like a banner that's like not sure where to start and then shop now and it takes them to a bestsellers collection. I still think there's ways to guide people that come in through your brand or return customers to purchase other products without a quiz.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just some really, really great points. I dropped in their chat earlier, Curious Elixirs, we work with them. They've got a really cool quiz as well if you guys want to scope it out. They're a completely different vertical. They're all about this non-alcoholic um, cocktails, basically, beverages. What's really cool is they have a starter kit. And what we did is we tested out a badge for brand new customers that literally just says start here, best value. Because it was like, how are we guiding people's hands? Let's hold their hand and get them to the right product, and just help cut out the decision fatigue of, man, I've never heard about this brand. Where do I start? There's too many products. It's overwhelming. Just testing on that badge there. So. But let's go ahead and look at the next slide, and then we'll jump into some Q&A. So this is my pitch to you guys. If you're ready to test, I know there's a few of our customers in here, but there's quite a few people that are watching that aren't customers yet. I would love to spend some time with you guys. You guys can book a free strategy session with me. So we get to talk. We've got 45 minutes we can talk through. I'm going to drop the link here so you guys can easily do this. So whether you guys are in the Shopify brand space or you're an agency working with Shopify brands, I would love to talk with you guys We've got a 14-day free trial. This is what we did with Ethique. We ran through a 14-day free trial with Ethique. We proved out the concept of because for them. We tested everything out. We A/B tested everything, and it's completely free. So we'll go through a bunch of this. We'll talk through what makes most sense to you guys. I'll ask a bunch of questions on your tech stack. What are your goals? Everything like that. So that's my final pitch to you guys is let's just get on a Zoom call together and talk through how we can implement everything you learned today, but for your guys' brand. And it's going to be really exciting. So all of that now, let's transition. We've got about 15 minutes left, so we're doing great on timing. Let's open up for some questions. I know we've already kind of answered the question about quizzes, but I'm going to stop sharing my screen here because you guys don't need to just see this big giant Q&A thing here. Um, let's go back to Jennifer's question. I know she was asking, and I'm curious what your thoughts are on this, Liz. She was asking about infusing quizzes with some brand storytelling education rather than just waiting to do that via email only. Have you guys played around with this at all?
So in terms, I mean, I definitely think for us, like brand education really focuses on like the product education and finding the right product for them. I think that we have a slightly unique challenge just because some people may have not tried our format before. So for us, it's really important that we try to pair somebody with what we feel like is the best product for themselves because we kind of have that fear that they might just try a shampoo bar, not have the realization that it's the same as a regular shampoo, and maybe they try it on their hair and they don't like it, and um they think it's the format. So I would say in terms of like integrating brand storytelling and education, we're really big about using because and some other things throughout our brand. To like really iterate that we have bars for all hair types. So I would say that's a big brand storytelling and education. And then also just emphasizing the fact that we have like 100% satisfaction guarantee or a money back guarantee, or some of the like misconceptions of a shampoo bar. Like one of ours is like a big deal for our brand is that all of our bars are safe for color treated hair, which is really big. So what we do kind of with in combination of that customer journey and customer ordering is like some of those key brand moments, or even if you look on our site now, we're A/B testing like, does somebody care more about how long our bar lasts? Like if it lasts as long as 3 bottles, or do they care that they're saving 3 bottles from landfill more? So I would say that there's endless possibilities in terms of integrating your brand or your product education into this as well. It's just about, I think, identifying for yourself, like, what are the key questions that people ask you about your brand? Like, what are the key barriers? What are the key misconceptions? Or what are the key reasons people buy from you, and kind of like trying to integrate those into the customer journey so that it's like, it's not buried in your PDP. It's like, okay, it's in details, but and like even right now we're working on our PDP and we're using because to test some of that messaging to kind of outline the hierarchy of our PDP, because we know that real estate on a website is so important, but it's like what matters about having it up front and center. So I think as you boil some of that down, like that would help guide you depending on what your brand is.
Yeah, there's so much to that I want to add on to. I think the other thing too that really motivates me as a consumer is understanding what is it exclusive to this site or not, right? Like I'm just talking through what I do as a consumer. When I see an ad about something, my first reaction is like look at the product and then I go, can I get this at Amazon or Target where I normally shop? Like transparently, that's what I do. It's like, can I buy this throughout my normal system, not pay for shipping, and then all that stuff. So if I can't, like save me the time and just tell me that it's an online exclusive or that you can only buy it there. The inverse can also be really powerful. When I worked at the Adventure Challenge, we sold products in Kohl's and Target and Walmart and a few other places. And so when it came time to holiday ship off, like holiday shipping cutoffs, we transitioned our messaging with because to say, you know, uh, Christmas was a few days away. So rather than us trying to get them to buy from us and do expedited shipping, we're like, Christmas is 3 days away. Let's just put on messaging on the site that's like, you can get this at your local, like, look at your local Target, look at your whatever, because it's still, I get it's not a Shopify sale, but still, you're still winning over the customer and helping getting that customer rather than them going to a competitor. So there's so much I could talk about that, but I think
Yeah, I
that's a good one.
definitely love that too, Mark. And we're experimenting right now with certain, we're not always pushing people to other retailers, but we're experimenting by enhancing like a retailer's sale. So like maybe during that period, we might drop like a looking to purchase in like Whole Foods during your grocery trip, like find a store near you and like direct them to their store locator to like help elevate a sale period. And it would really depend on like what your retail goals are. But the reality is sometimes, especially where we are in growth, like we might need to support a retailer here and there.
Oh yeah. And it's just yeah, it's there's tension in it because you want to support the retailer, you want to grow that relationship and foster that relationship you're building, but you don't want to take away from sales, but at the same time like sometimes it's about the speed of which you can get product, you know? It's I know that getting an Ulta for you guys is huge because so many of your customers probably already shop at Ulta and now they get to make that a part of their routine, which is great. But to Jennifer's point, I think talking through the advantage of going through the brand side is also huge. So it's like, what subscriptions do you guys offer? You know, if you offer subscriptions where they can kind of set it and forget it, or maybe there's loyalty, or maybe it's customer service. Like I know with one brand we work with, their big thing is they actually have a whole page dedicated to why buy from them directly versus Amazon and other retailers. And one of their big things is they support their warranty longer. So they have like a longer warranty or a longer customer service period that they'll help support their product versus if you buy from Amazon, you know you're left alone with Amazon. So yeah. But what other questions are coming up for you guys? We've got just about 9 minutes left. We don't have to use the whole 9 minutes, but if there's any other questions that you guys have regarding Ethique because the whole life cycle. I know Jennifer also asked the question of I'm curious what time frame is too long since last purchased around communication, but I don't know if you want to expand on that, Jennifer, because I kind of forgot what that was in relation to, but feel free to drop in that question.
For sure. And I think, Mark, in the interim, I know Jennifer asked a few other questions, and thank you so much, Jennifer, for being so engaged. Mark and I really appreciate it. It's nice to have you. Um, I can just mention two things about so the SEO forwarding. I would say it's not really because related, but happy to touch on it briefly. Um, I think for us, because all of our brand name changed and things like that, for us, because we had SEO strategy before, our products weren't necessarily SEO optimized to product names previously. They were more so optimized to keywords that had to do with like concern and benefit, which I would imagine depending on the product that you have, you may or may not be SEO optimized to your product title. So for me, it was just extensive URL redirection and then product page optimization that made sure that it included, keywords from the old product, and then new keywords that we were going after. And then Jennifer, you also mentioned like if somebody goes to search for products via the old names, getting them to the new product name PDPs. Don't know if that was a question or not, but for us, within Shopify, there is a native like search and discovery app, that's free to everyone. And what we do is there's, I believe it's called synonym groups. I'm not sure if I recall the actual name, and I do this commonly anyways. But what I did is I created synonym groups for each of the old product names and the new product names. So even to this day, because our products last so long, and we had quite the big Black Friday sale in November. And quite frankly, I think some of our customers might have enough bars to last them through Armageddon. But if they decide to come back to our site, they can still search the old product name and the new products will show up in response. So if you are going through a brand thing and you are a Shopify user, and you don't utilize the search and discovery app on Shopify, I definitely recommend taking a look. You can also natively see what words people are most commonly searching for on your website, which can be really helpful.
Yeah. I mean, that's such a helpful. I know that I've done that when I've been on the brand side, and it's so helpful because it helps you understand like customers' behavior and mindset. Because you're like, you'll be surprised what they search for. Sometimes they're searching for a product that doesn't even exist, and it can help inform
Oh,
your
for sure. Or
product.
they misspell something, and we don't always have the luxury of having 70 apps or the budget for 70 apps. But again, I think there are some, obviously I love Shopify, but I think there's some native apps that if people on this call aren't using Shopify native apps, like I think there are apps that can cover probably about 80% of what you're looking to do sometimes.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, I think we'll wrap it up here. I want to for sure make sure that you guys all know. I know it's already been dropped in the chat, but please check out Etique's website. Check them out, take their quiz, go through the whole journey, and just be wowed at their experience, but also like I would say change your guys' hair care routine. And then I also want to drop in Liz's LinkedIn so that way you guys can stay connected to Liz because she's always posting amazing things on there. Definitely an amazing, amazing player in the space of all things D2C, e-com. And look at
Also,
that.
just drop the discount code
Yes.
that people can use to get 20% off and free shipping on your first order. If you're looking to make the change, highly recommend you take our hair quiz to find the right fit for you. I promise you, just try it. You will love it.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys really will. And even their deodorants, I know, fantastic lip balm. So they they've got it all. So and then one last time, I'll drop in the demo link and you guys can definitely book some time with me. Oh, the code is welcome20, Jennifer. And I'll probably share that out too in the follow-up email. So
Perfect.
oh, sorry. I see that Liz's message only went to me and the panelists. So let me drop that in here.
Oh, that's what happened.
There we go. So
Amazing.
yeah. Yeah. So welcome 20 is the code. And I appreciate everybody for being here today. Really, really thank you guys for giving us the time and for everybody who stuck it out this long. And we'll be sending out all this information in the follow-up. And Liz, thank you again so much for just bringing all of your insights, just sharing all of what you've learned, and just being a champion of Because, but also just being a big thought leader in the space. I think it's really encouraging and powerful to see you as a woman be such a big leader in the space, and then also carrying Etique's mission so well. Like you're one of the few. I already said earlier, you're one of my favorites, but you're one of the few people that really has adopted the brand's mission and like lives it and breathes it. So it's really cool to see that. So
Thank you.
awesome.
Yes, very
Yeah,
happy to be here.
awesome. Well, everybody have a good rest of your Thursday, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys on the next webinar. So thanks so much.
Thank you.
See you guys.